All right, let's talk Notre Dame Fighting Irish working its way through a pivotal offseason. Going to get a change behind the center position. Of course, we're talking quarterback battle in full swing as we work our way through spring. And there's an interesting development when you hear the Notre Dame coaching staff that I think Fighting Irish fans should be very excited about. We'll get to that in just 1 second. But first, I'm Nick, that's Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, there's been a lot of conversation about who's going to be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish starting quarterback. There's obviously basically a three-way battle right now. There's different, depending on who you talk to on what day, it's who's the favorite, who's not, who's doing well, who's not. But when you listen to some recent comments about one particular former phenom, I guess you can call him a former, he still kind of is incredibly athletically gifted. It looks like there's maybe some real momentum behind one candidate in particular. At least that's my thought. Let's pull up this report and then we'll really dig into it on the other side. This is courtesy of Athlon Sports. CJ Carr joined the team in December 2023 during Sun Bowl preparation and is now in his second spring under offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock's system and under the tutelage of quarterback coach Gino Gudiugli, something Italian. I'm sorry if I know I butchered that name there. Has witnessed tremendous growth in Carr over the last calendar year. Just experience in the offense, command of the offense, being in the second year of the offense, Gudiugli said of Carr's progress. Just full understanding of what we're trying to accomplish on offense, run game, and pass game. He's done a good job of jumping into that, and then to build on that, once you kind of master the offense, you're not thinking about that anymore. Your ability to process the defense pre-snap, I think he's come a long way there. I think this is really important because Carr, phenomenally athletically gifted kid, just incredible physical tools. Dealing with the injury, the concern was going to be, does he have enough experience? Does he have enough reps to understand the offense and continue to grow? Can he handle that? That's obviously a huge part of playing quarterback. Based on these recent comments, it looks like he can and will continue to improve in the offense. And if he has the mental side right and he's healthy, which it looks like he is, this kid, I think, in my opinion, is the favorite to be the next QB1 for Notre Dame. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on all of this, but Fighting Irish fans, you first in the comment section below. How would you feel about CJ Carr being the starting quarterback if this is how it goes and that's he's their day one starting quarterback come the fall? Do you love that idea? Do you have a different one that you're a fan of that you want to see become the starter? Or are you just going to let it shake out? You just want it to play out? Give us your thoughts overall on who you're expecting and who you want to be the starting quarterback for Notre Dame come fall 2025. Obviously, really curious what you guys have to say. You Fighting Irish fans, really insightful. So give us some good comments. You always do below in the comment section. But Mize, over to you now. What are your thoughts on this latest out of South Bend?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is really interesting update. I think this is, if you're a Notre Dame fan, quite honestly, this is what you want to hear because I think you hear what they've been saying. It's like you said, any day that you slice this QB competition, it's Angeli, it's Kenny Minchie, it's CJ Carr. It doesn't matter. Like, it could be whoever leads. But the fact that we're seeing CJ Carr now kind of, get back from injury, be the player that we thought he was going to be, I think that's really important because Carr came into this thing and he was the top tier guy. He was the number 6 quarterback in that class. You look at Minchie, he was the 14th highest rated quarterback in his class. And Angeli, I believe, he was like the 43rd highest rated quarterback in that class. A little bit lower as far as like where these guys rank. But CJ Carr, definitely your highest rated prospect on this team coming in out of high school. Really talented player, number 1 player in the state of Michigan, I believe. This guy really just a fantastic guy coming over South Bend. Unfortunately, gets injured, but now we're seeing him develop. We're seeing what was probably supposed to be happening. So I think it makes sense that he's now stepping up. He's showing some leadership ability, showing comfortability in the offense, showing that he has all the physical tools to be that top tier quarterback. I'd be pretty excited about this because I think this is how it's supposed to work out. It's supposed to be CJ Carr's job to lose. He's the most talented guy. He's the highest rated guy. Probably the guy they put the most recruiting assets in to go out and get. He's the guy that has the longest future left with this team as well. So that's something to keep in mind. Where Minchie, I think he's talented. He's athletic. Is a guy that I thought was quite interesting. And Jelly, he's not too bad, but he's the lower of the 3 on this totem pole, in my personal opinion. I think that Carr showing now that he is coming into his own and really being comfortable in this offense is a great time for Notre Dame because it shows they got the right guy when they recruited him the first time around. I think it was meant to be this way. I think this is how it was supposed to go the whole time. Finally, things are course correcting, getting back on track for Notre Dame. And me personally, you asked the question, Nick. I'd be pretty happy if CJ Carr, if he wins, if he truly wins this quarterback competition and becomes the QB1 of this team, I think I would be very excited about that. That's showing that Notre Dame wasn't wrong when they went out and recruited this guy, brought him into the program, and they have what they thought they did when they got him, and that's a future star at the quarterback position.
You bring up a great point, is that Notre Dame for the past couple of years, they've been relying on transfers that are basically going to wind down their college careers. And the Fighting Irish have obviously had the success they've had over the past couple of years with Hardman and Leonard with those transfer quarterbacks. But I also think right now they're looking for some long-term stability, because I think that's the one thing, if you look at the big flashing indicator, that's holding up a lot of people calling Notre Dame a true top five, top three powerhouse, even though they went to the college football national championship game this past season, magical run. Freeman's one of the best coaches in college football. Great staff, great operations, phenomenal recruiting, player development, line of scrimmage, offense, defense across the board. They do a great job. The one thing I think that holds people up is, well, can they actually develop? Can they recruit and develop the quarterback position and have long-term stability there? And that is so important, because if you look at teams that win and compete for national champions regularly, you look at, of course, the Alabama dynasty. They did a great job with multiple quarterbacks. They went through a number of them making their run. Even Georgia's gone through a couple quarterbacks with a lot of success, right? It's the one and done teams that don't do a good job developing quarterbacks that rise and then they fall, right? We see this every once in a while. We see TCU had a magical run to the national title game not long ago, but they haven't done anything since. Issues at the quarterback position, right? You see the LSU Tigers will have a good year, then they'll fall off because their quarterback play dipped. Southern Cal, same thing, right? It's one of these things. Michigan's another good example. Ohio State, they won the national title, but they kind of fall in the same bucket too. 2 years ago, their quarterback play dipped after CJ Stroud. They were not nearly as good as they normally are. Right? It's a thing that every program has to figure out long-term success at the quarterback position, and the truly great ones have that ability to recruit and develop and have long-term stability at that position. And I think we're going to see that from Notre Dame. And I think it is CJ Carr, right? There's nothing against the other guys. I think Angeli's kind of, he's okay, right? He's a good solid, and there's nothing to get excited about, honestly, in my opinion. He's kind of a gutsy guy who can come in and execute. He's the perfect backup. I don't want him as my QB1. I think it comes down between Mincy and Carr, and Mincy's got a phenomenal tool set. Nothing against him. I just think Carr's better. And I think if you're looking at Notre Dame, you say, listen, if we roll with the software, and he earns it, right? He obviously has to earn it. If we roll with the software, we've got a starting quarterback for at least the next 2 years, maybe three, right? And we finally will have multiple year stability. We can build a multi-year program, a multi-year offense, and finally take steps to being a continuing dynasty team instead of a team like Notre Dame honestly has been, where every 5 years or so they have a great season, they go deep in the playoffs, or they make the 14 playoff for this past season. Now that's the expanded playoff. They make a deep run, and then they disappear for a few years, and then they make another deep run, and they disappear for a few years. Long-term stability at the quarterback position will allow them to maintain that consistent success year to year. And by the way, it will also help them recruit the 5 stars, the elites of the elites at the quarterback position. Because if you're one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the country, you want to go somewhere where you can start for 2 or 3 years. Notre Dame for a long time hasn't had that vibe, hasn't had that energy, hasn't had that opportunity. I think CJ Carr emerging as QB1 will bring that back to South Bend. It will help Notre Dame continue to take those steps that Marcus Freeman has them on, being one of the true top 3, 4, 5 contenders in all of college football.
Nick, and this point's kind of ancillary to the whole thing. It doesn't make, a ton of difference. But one thing I think is very interesting is you talk about guys, growing up, you can always see like guys that are, lineage type of players, guys that have been around for a long time, that their dad was in the NFL, their dad was, a big time college football player. That's always good because it shows you, there's precedent, then someone in the family that knows how to do that, knows how to win. And, that's good too. If you have someone in your family who knows how to get into the College Football Hall of Fame, who knows how to win a national championship at Michigan, and that's his grandfather, Lloyd Carr. So, being around the block, being around his grandfather, probably got a very high a football IQ, a lot of knowledge. Being around a really great, coach like that, I think is a good point. And I think CJ Carr, that's another notch in his belt. Is growing up all throughout. He's been around a guy in his grandfather, Lloyd Carr, knows the game of football in and out, knows, all of the things to teach him growing up. So just one little tidbit of information. If Notre Dame fans didn't know, I'm sure they did, but I think that's a pretty interesting point there as well. Lloyd Carr, CJ Carr's grandfather, has that winning culture in the family, has that legendary coaching status as well. I think is a really, really solid coach at Michigan. And I think it's going to rub up on CJ Carr just a little bit more, make him a little bit more enticing.